Okay. Yeah. Welcome, students. In today's class, we will learn the concepts related to infrastructure as a service, which is also known as the hardware as a service. And I will take you through a real-time example of the all the three different services, like the IIS, that is infrastructure, platform, as well as the software as a service application. First, let us learn or let us know what exactly the infrastructure as a service is, and then we will proceed further. Okay. Now, in the infrastructure, as the word suggests, or infrastructure or a hardware means the entire physical system will be made available for a end user. It could be a one person or it could be an organization wherein multiple employees may get access to a single physical hardware, right? So what are included in this one, in the infrastructure? The server space. So we can just think of a physical space which can be placed, or the devices can be placed in a particular rack, okay, which may include multiple hardware equipments, like the network equipments. Suppose if the organization is a too big and they want to set up and go for an infrastructure as a service from the service provider, then at a service provider they may require a lot of networking devices, right? Like routers, the, you can say, the firewalls, right? The switches which will ensure that the proper networking is done between the different devices. Okay. Then the memory, you can think of a RAM memory for every devices which they are offering for, CPU cycles, and the storage space. So all the different types of infrastructures will be made available to the end users, and all these things can be accessed again through the web browser only. Okay, that type of a architecture or a cloud computing service, we call it to be a infrastructure as a service. So again, here there can be two things possibility. There are two different possibilities. One is that the entire setting up the hardwares or the infrastructure can be done by specifically by that particular service provider, or in sometimes like a big organizations, the service provider will give just the setup, and the remaining virtualization whatever is required, okay, can also be done by the individual organization depending upon their need. So both possibilities can be done. Okay. So the same points just covered in these particular slides. So the point of here, we can just little stress on the one of the point, that is infrastructure can be dynamically scaled up or scaled down based upon the requirements. Again, here the scaling of the or the computing environment can be increased or can be decreased dynamically, right? Here computing environment means we mean to say that suppose at a particular given time the user say that, okay, I would require a 1 TB of a hard disk to store the data related to my organization, right? Later, the next day he may demand for a more data, and as soon as the demand appears, then the service provider will increase the data capacity, the storage capacity. Okay. And if at certain moment the user say that they require less, and at the same time the scaling can be brought it down, depending upon how much the data or the how much the infrastructure is used. Based upon that, the billing will takes place, and according to that only the user is going to pay for. It is not only with respect to the storage data, it can also be respect to the RAM, the CPU cycles. At a particular time they may require more CPU cycles to perform a complex computations, scientific computations, like a machine learning things or artificial intelligence stuffs, right? During that time they may increase, and when they think that, okay, they don't require for a few weeks, then they can dynamically bring it down. So dynamically all the infrastructure can be scaled up or scaled down, right? And another point we need to understand here is that the last one, that is multiple tenants can be on the same equipment at the same time. So the meaning of this last point is that it is most appropriately holds good for the individual users who are using the infrastructures. Okay, I will give you the example of this, the practical example I will show you. But what actually we mean here is by, suppose if there is a service provider and he is providing certain infrastructure as a service to the end users. Okay, now he may set up a big data server consisting of lot of many operating systems, many virtualizations. Okay, he might have one particular system. On top of that, he might have he has gone for a virtualization layer, and on top of that he might have installed certain 10 operating systems, and on each of the 10 operating system different type of softwares are installed, like, okay, and each one of them, each one of the virtual machines can be accessed by a different persons at the same time. So that is the meaning of the multiple tenants can be on the same equipment at the same time. Okay, now what actually the type of a services, or what actually it includes, is these 5 points. Okay. Service level agreements. Have you ever heard this word, this particular phrase, service level agreements, or shorthand we call it to be a SLA? Has anybody heard about this SLAs? Whenever there is a kind of a business agreement happens, then we talk about something called as an SLAs. Okay, SLA basically it's kind of an agreement between the two parties. For example, here, now when I approach a cloud computing service provider and I demand for certain infrastructure, okay, which consists of us. Okay, now infrastructure means, think of I am just asking for a physical computer with so and so configuration. Okay, now whenever I want to access that particular computer over the web browser, it should be available for me. Right now, what the cloud computing service provider will say that, okay, our systems, whatever the infrastructure we will provide, it will be available for you for a 98%. So the SLA says that 98% here, it means that suppose for 24/7, if they consider the every day in a particular week, they may not provide access to that particular infrastructure for say for 4 to 5 hours. The reason being could be that the maintenance activity they want to perform on that particular virtual machine or infrastructure. So if the SLA says that there will be 98% uptime for the infrastructure, then it has to be 98%, minimum 98% it should be given, or it should be available for the end user. Now, so what may happen if it reduces down? Suppose if it comes down to 95%, then as per the agreement, that is the SLAs, as per the SLAs, the service provider is not meeting with his agreement. Then the user can demand for reduction in the cost. Since he can say that, okay, boss, you have agreed for 98% of the working, that is 98%, the system will be available for me. Say for a better example, in a week, throughout the week, the system may not be available for 5 hours. But we found that more than 5 hours, the system was not available for us. Now, since we are paying for all these amount of time, but we are not able to get access to that one. So I will not pay you complete money. So I will go with some reductions. So this is just one of the example of a SLA. So there can be a lot of agreements can happen between the SLAs, between the two parties. Other could be that suppose all of a sudden if the system crashes, or let's say some different example here. Suppose on particular infrastructure they might have installed certain softwares, and that particular software if the user is not able to access it, right? Then they say that as per the SLAs, if any of the software is not accessible, we will be ready in helping you out or troubleshooting the problem and resolve the issues, and that solution can be given within say 2 hours or 3 hours. If the SLA says that such critical issues will be solved within 2 hours. Again, if the service provider company, if they are not able to solve such critical issues within the agreed time, within the SLA time, that is 2 or 3 hours, if they take more time, then again they are breaching the SLAs. Then again the user can approach for demanding for reduction in the amount. So this way there will be a lot of service level agreements between the user and the service provider company. Okay, then second is computer hardwares. So here computer hardwares include all the necessity devices which are required, which are essential to run the computer. Okay, all the list of those particular computers will be given with the scalability. With the scalability means what? Whenever they want to increase the number of hardwares, they should be able to do it, and whenever they want to reduce it, they should be able to do it. Okay, then the network resources, right? Such as the firewalls, the routers, okay, and the load balancing. Okay, the load balancing is something very important in case of the organization. If an organization is going for a cloud computing with respect to infrastructure, then just try to think that there is one particular server, which that server is being used by say 10 employees. Okay, out of those particular 10 employees, one, two, or three employees are really working on a type of a machine learning processes which demands a lot of CPU cycles, whereas the remaining, say, some 7 employees are not critically using the systems. They may not require those much of CPU cycles or a RAM what the other three are using. In such cases, the hardware should be capable enough to balance the load between those 3 employees which requires a more computer cycles, CPU cycles than the other 7, so that there should be a smooth workflow of the computing environment. So all these things should be taken care by the HAS. The next is platform virtualization environment. Obviously, they just require a type of a virtualization what they need to provide it for the end user. And the last one, that is utility computing building, right? This is something, a type of a software which should, or you can say it type of a reports or a software. Using that particular software, a kind of a report can be generated that gives a clear picture to both the user as well as to the service provider, showing that what is the price the user has to pay and what is the in detail description about those particular users. So which will include all these different 4 points which we talked about. For each of these users, how much the user has to pay. Suppose if the user is paying in a say for a 50 once in a 15 days or once in a month and all, so all those split ups descriptions should be given with respect to the building things. So all these things will be involved in an architecture, that is the infrastructure as a service cloud computing environment. Understood, students? Any doubts here? Are you able to visualize and just understand the concepts? Because all these things are type of theoretical oriented. You need to try to visualize and then understand the concepts. Okay. The pros and cons are again simple here. Okay, you can just read through it. It is self-explanatory. Okay. Now, let me just show you the now this particular website. Okay, the Nimblebox AI is a cloud computing service provider who provides the infrastructure and platform as well as the software. All three things, three types of services he provides. Okay, now let us, this is one of the a classic example here I can say, where I can show you all the 3 different types of the services. The first of all, the infrastructure, right? So infrastructure, as I said yesterday briefly, that okay, these images what you see here, that this is one is the ICT assignments, the other one is ICT assignment new, and other 2. These are what? These are the infrastructures. So here when I say infrastructure, what I mean here is that, right, it is something like this particular is a one system, and on that particular system I have a 4-core 15 GB RAM and one NVIDIA T4 16 GB of VRAM, and there is a storage of 15 GB given to me. So this is kind of a hardware, right? So these configurations will be made on a particular hardware. Now again, this may not be a standalone computer there. Definitely, it is a virtual machine, right? So this is a virtual machine which is whose access is given to me, right? There is one particular point what I mentioned in the PPT, that was the, if you look into this particular point, the multiple tenants can be on the same equipment at the same time. Now, there is one particular hardware. On top of that, there could be 100 virtual machines. And each of those 100 virtual machines can be accessed by a different people at a same time. Correct? Now, for me itself, I have 4 different machines here. And all these 4 machines, I can access it. Right? Now, whenever I click on the launch button, it opens up a web browser here. Now you see here, look at the architecture of this cloud computing here. I'm able to access the infrastructure, that is the entire computer, through the web browser itself. right? In this web browser, what do I have? I have certain softwares given to me, right? Now, in together, this one I can call it to be a infrastructure as a service, right? Now, on top of that, I have given with certain softwares here, right? One of the software is what? Jupyter. This is a Jupyter notebook, right? This is a software. This is a VS Code. These are what the different types of the softwares which are installed on that particular machine. So suppose if I want to access this Jupyter notebook, then I can just click on this. When I click on this, it opens the different pages of that, and any one of the pages, if I click, it opens that one, right? Now, interestingly, this particular, we can call this interface as a software. Also, I can call it as a platform here, or as we discussed the platform as a service. So in the platform, what do we have? We will be having a computing environment, isn't it? Now, if you see here, this Jupyter notebook is integrated. It is basically a IDE here, IDE for Python. You can see the symbol here, the icon of the Python. It is a Python environment, IDE environment. I can type the code here and I can execute by just clicking on any of clicking on the run button. For simple example, I will just show you here. Now, to print a message, you already know, right? This is Python 3. Do we give a double quotes or we don't give a double quotes? Now, just type the simple message, right? And when I clicked on this run button, output is displayed over here. Students, are you able to see the screen?
Yes, sir.
Right? Now, this is a type of an IDE here. Now, this is such an advanced type of an IDE wherein it will not allow me to only type the code, but it will also give me an advanced level of the adding the documentation for this. Documentation for means here you can see there is something called as a question one and certain paragraphs are written, right? This is nothing but again a type of data which user has entered and made it as a documentation or a kind of a comments. This includes HTML pages also, or you can say HTML coding can or scripting can be done on the same IDE. For instance, suppose I want to print a database or I just want to print a type of a comments here. Then I can just click on insert cell below. So it just inserts a line here. When I place the cursor on this line, see there is one option, there is one drop down here. It specifies by default as a code, right? No, but if I go here, there are some different options. The one is the markdown. So markdown here is that it allows now me to enter certain text, and when I run that one, it will be treated as an HTML page. For example, this is HTML. If I type, and this is a markdown, and when I click on this run, you can see it is looking like a content in an HTML page, right? Even we can add different HTML tags here. For example, now I want to write on the next line here, I can include a break, right? And I can write certain headings here, say H1. If I type H1 and say this is heading 1 and end the H1 tag. And if I now click on this particular run button, now you can see here, right? This is considered as what? As the HTML page. So it is an advanced type of IDE wherein people or a developer can make use of the IDE to run the Python code, as well as we can even run the Panda stuffs on the this Jupyter notebook. Okay, this is a free Jupyter notebooks. For your additional information, the Jupyter notebooks is a free, it is an open source. Okay, if anyone are more keen on using the Python or a type of artificial intelligence coding or machine learning stuffs, okay, you go for an environment called as an Anaconda. Have you heard about Anaconda? Not the animal creature. Has anybody heard Anaconda? If not, you can just say no also. No problem in that.
No, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay, yes and no. What is Anaconda, Chetan? What do you know about that?
So it is a kind of text editor in which we write codes, or you can say HTML.
Yeah, so it's not just only a text editor. It is a collection of huge softwares, basically the open source stuffs, okay, which is around which runs in a GBs. If we install those particular Anaconda, we can go for sub softwares in that one. And Anaconda by default includes the Python as well as Jupyter Notebook. And the Jupyter Notebook, the one which you are seeing here, okay, this is one of the advanced kind of a editor which person can have, wherein the AI stuffs or the scientific calculations, the programs related to that can be done very easily. Okay, and this is also available as a web browser. You can just go to a Google bar and just type online Jupyter Notebook. You get a your link for that, and you can work upon that particular website also, or the website. Then it appears to be we can treat it to be an platform as an independent, not completely. We can say that it is a platform as a service, but not completely means it allows us to have the uh, writing the program, execution of that one, debugging of that one, everything can be done, but hosting of the programs or those particular softwares cannot be done here. Okay, excluding that, we can treat it to be a kind of a platform as a service. And in that, this particular Nimblebox provides, or on this particular virtual box, there are certain softwares available. Those softwares again can be accessed using the web browsers in. So we can call it to be a software as a service. So in together, all these particular things, that is Nimblebox AI is the best example for all three different types of cloud computing services. Okay, understood, students? Anything? I'm just trying to give you certain examples wherever it is possible. I'm just trying to give all these examples. These are not given in your textbooks. Whatever is given in the textbooks, kind of examples, most of them are type of outdated, or they were in a primitive stage when the textbook was written. But now there are a lot of advancement in that one. Okay. Anything you want to know more about this thing, or shall I proceed with the further steps? Okay. Now, so these points we have gone through, pros and cons also done. Now I'm just going through one particular slide, which will give you an exact or the clear picture about two different things basically. One is the cloud computing services and other is on-premises services. Now, let me tell you what are there in this particular diagram. On the left side, you see a set of stack of rectangles, right? This is something, a kind of a computing environment, or a computer, or a software, or an infrastructure, or whatever you call it to be, right? So these are the stuffs which a particular person or a developer or a user requires, right? If all these things are being done by the user himself or user herself, then we can call it to be a on-premises services. Means we own everything, starting from application up to the servers. Everything is being owned by the user themselves. The meaning of the owning means taking care of everything, managing end-to-end activities, what type of softwares they require, what type of hardware they require, how much CPU cycle or how much RAM they need to install, what type of virtualization they want to have, and on top of that, what are the different operating system they want to install, right? What type of the applications or the software they need to have. So everything is managed by the user themselves. That is what usually in a regular days we do, right? That is a on-premises. Now, if those activities, if we want, suppose as an user, we want to shift onto the cloud computing services, right? As we know that there are three different services, right? Software, platform, and the infrastructure. If we go for them, then all these activities done by whom this particular diagram depicts, right? Now you see the the bluish colors one are done by the user, whereas the brown color one is done by the service provider. If we go for a cloud computing, look at here in the service, software as a service, everything will be done by or taken care by the service provider themselves, right? But if we the same at the same time, if we shift on to the platform as a service, now here the two things, the application and the data will be taken care by the user, but whereas all other remaining things will be taken care by the service provider. And if we go a little further, you can just see the differences here, how it depends. This is an additional to additional slide. This is not there again in your syllabus, just to make you understand or give a more clarity upon how you can visualize the concepts related to the cloud computing. Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I do have a small video. Let me see, where did I keep? 1 second. There is one small video I just want to show you. Give me a moment. Not this one. Sorry, somewhere I lost it. I'm not able to recollect where I have kept. One very good video related to a cloud computing, where we can just think, because yesterday we talked about a couple of things related to the security. We say at a one place, we can say that security is at the most in the in the cloud computing, but on the other hand, it is not secure also. So that is something I had a video on that. Not sure where I lost it. Let me see, I will just try to collect it. And if I get, I will let you know. I will just show you that video in the next class. Okay. Okay. I hope the screen is, you're able to see the screen.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, simple stuffs, concepts. Why cloud computing matters? Why do we require cloud computing? What is so, we have learned so far what cloud computing is, its advantages, its disadvantages, how it is built in just in a brief way, right? And its different services, right? Now, can you just try to recollect and try to answer for these things? Now, here we have made up a couple of points here. The first one is developers. So with respect to a developer or a point of view of a developer, how this cloud computing matters? How matters means here, how it is useful for the developers. What is so advantageous? Can anyone think of?
So they can
Features
perform
less cost.
in different environments.
Okay. One of your friends says, Shugoda says more features with less cost. Okay, very good. Now, can you be more relative with respect to the developer, with respect to developer? This is a common point in a point of a end user.
Sir, they can
him or her
code
also.
in different environments.
But with respect to a developer, how this particular cloud computing matters, or why this cloud computing matters? For your point of examination, you may get a question on this one, why cloud computing matters, for 5 marks. Now just try to think with respect to developers. We have discussed, right? With respect to developers, there is one particular service, right? So how it is useful for them? So Sonam says provides environment to write code. Yes. So it provides the environment to code. Even an end user, if I want to install as a developer, I can install the systems, I can install the environment, coding environment on my particular system. But why it is important for the coder or for developer to go for an cloud computing? That is the question here. Developer can write the code, or develop the software on their system by installing the different softwares, or they can switch on to the cloud computing. But we are trying to say that it would be better for a developer if developer switches on the cloud environment. And why it is?
Sir, the developers need different environments, and to install each environment for them may be pricey or time consuming. So the cloud helps in that.
I'm waiting for your response, students. I just wanted to cross verify here how much you have learned or how much you are attentive in the class. This will give me a better picture on how students are able to grasp the concepts, or how well I am delivering the concepts to you. Anyone?
Sir, the developers need different kinds of environments. Like they need to change
Right? For
environments
the
to
point of
code or develop.
developer, the storage, what they require to store the data for developing, and the type of applications they require, right? The type of IDE they require, it can vary, and they can demand for from the service provider. The computing cycles they require, they can increase or they can demand for it. If the developer says that they require a higher RAM, then they can demand for that, and the service provider company will provide that. So the scalability of the things which are required for a developer can be easily done or can be performed by if the user or the developer goes with the cloud computing. Right? I hope these 2 points will give you a better understanding. Read through these points, students. Self-explanatory, and these points we have already discussed in detail in the previous classes. Look at the last point here. Connect people and resources from any location, anywhere in the world. As you know, the development environment is going in a type of environment where open sources are being used. The softwares are developed by making use of the open sources, and again such developed softwares are being given as an open source, right? Wherein a person need not to work for any particular organization. They can develop their own softwares or the type of applications by making use of an open source. When we think of open source, then we need to get connected with the people, right, on a free environment. And what type of activity they perform, what type of activity we perform, we need to share, or we need to share our resources. The codes, it could be a course, or the type of a logics or a design which we are creating can be shared between the different people, okay, in a real-time manner. And these people can be located anywhere in the world. So for a developer, the cloud computing matters a lot, especially with respect to the ML and AI stuffs. Okay, Aniket, you were not audible, Aniket. Has anybody heard Aniket voice? I didn't hear anything. Did you speak, Aniket? Anything?
So he did try to answer, but then I think his voice started breaking,
No,
and so
I
did
couldn't
your.
hear anything. Can anyone acknowledge? Was Aniket audible to you? He has
No, sir.
explained that he spoke about, he answered the question, but I couldn't hear anything.
Not completely so.
Oh, sorry, I don't know what is the problem here. 1 second. 1 second, students. Oops. Oh, I'm really sorry. I messed up with the audio things here. I just apologize for that. I think the problem was, I'm just really sorry here. I had problem with the speakers and I couldn't hear anything from your side. Absolutely sorry. I will ensure that these things will not happen in upcoming classes. Okay, Aniket, did you say, did you talked about anything apart from the points which I just spoke just now? Apart from that, anything you added?
Something around the same things.
Same points, right? Okay.